On-page SEO basics, optimizing content for SEO. My name is Sam, and in this video, we are going to cover title tags, meta descriptions, headings, and using keywords naturally within content. This is a continuation of our SEO for Beginners series. So let's dive in. First, title tags and meta descriptions. What they are: title tags, they're clickable headlines that represent the main theme of a page. I'll show an example of this in a second. And meta descriptions, they're brief summaries of what appears on that page. Why do they matter? They can help improve click-through rate. So if you had a title tag that was the best dog bone versus the top 5 best dog bones, studies will show that if you include numbers within title tags, that tends to improve click-through rate. And so if more people are clicking on your title, that sends positive signals to search engines. So anyway, they can help improve click-through rate. The meta description does the same thing. If you have a blank meta description or a boring meta description, it'll be less likely that people will want to actually read what's on your page. They also inform search engines about content relevance. The title tag is probably the most important, most heavily weighted on-page metric or on-page item that you can optimize. So, oopsie, what do they look like? So this is, I just Googled title tags, and this is an example, obviously, of a search result. So the title tag is typically what will show up right here. It is this blue clickable link, and then the meta description is the text below the title tag. Technically, Google can change the title tag to try to better match search intent, but we can control what we can control, and so you want to you want to have a good title tag, and so we'll go about that, or talk about that now. So best practices for title tags and meta descriptions. First, include keywords. You almost certainly will want to use your primary keyword within the title and the description. You want to use it naturally. We'll talk about that in a few slides here. But if you don't have your main keyword in the title tag, it's going to be more difficult for you to rank for that term. You want to be concise. Title tags, you want to keep them under 60 characters, meta description between 150 and 160 characters. This is largely because that's how much space you have here. You can go longer than that, but Google's going to cut off the title tag. You kind of see right here, and even them, like, why does, I don't know this, why does this one go this far and this one they cut off here? I'm not entirely sure, but the general, or the recommendation is to keep it at 60 characters for title tags and 150 to 160 for meta descriptions. And then lastly, focus on user intent. We talked about this in the last video, but address what the user is searching for and make it enticing. We want to create good content. We want people to read our content. And so we should, if we have done that, then make a great title tag, make a great meta description, and encourage people to click through. Next is heading. So your H1, H2, H3, they go to H6, but we typically are not too concerned about 4, 5, and 6. But headings are used for structuring content for both search engines and for readers. If this is done properly, both search engines and readers should understand what your page is about and the flow of it. The H1 is going to be the main topic of the page, and you only want to use one H1. H2s and H3s, those are subheadings, and that helps to organize your content into logical sections. Why do they matter? It enhances readability and content flow, and then it helps search engines understand what the page is about and how relevant that page is to searches. I'm going to give an example here. I'm going to hop off these slides. And so this is an Ahrefs blog about title tags. And I use a tool here called SEO Pro extension by Marketing Syrup. There's lots of other Chrome extensions here, but this just helps to pull out title tags and meta descriptions and headings, so it's a little bit easier to see than scrolling down the page. So anyway, headings, we're going to look at our headings here. So you can see they have one H1 heading and what are title tags and how to write them for SEO. Then they have 6 H2s and 16 H3s and 2 H4s. But then if you just were to look at the title tags, you're going to have a pretty good idea of what this page is about. So what are title tags, how to write them for SEO, that's our H1. Then H2, how to write the perfect title tag. And then H3, below that H2, step 1, so this is how to write it, and then step 1 is look to see Step 2, find potential secondary keywords. Step 3, make your title more clickable. And that's sort of that little cluster of content there, and it's all nicely organized. Then we go on to an H2 again. So now we're taking a step back up to another broad topic. So best practices or best practice tips for optimizing your SEO titles. And then they have all these H3s here, which are going to then be those tips. And then within these, if we'll scroll down to this now, so practically this looks like on a page. This is the H2, best practice tips for optimizing your SEO titles. Then they have a little intro there, and then they have the H3, which is tip number 1, get your title tag formatting right. Then they have some content on that. Then tip number 2, review and improve title tags post-publication, and so forth. Going back to our slides here. So anyway, so you want one H1, you want then H2s and H3s to help to organize your content. And I think they do a good job here, but then it's easy to follow both for the reader. They kind of know where they are and what to expect, but it also sends clear signals to search engines about, hey, this is what this page is about. This is the content that we're covering. In general, H1s carry the most weight, H2s carry the next most, H3s the next most, and onward. So going forward, best practices for headings. We mentioned this, but you only want one H1 tag, and that should contain the primary keyword and represent the main topic there. For H2s and H3s, those are going to be subheadings. You're going to want to break down topics logically in a way that makes sense and is easy to follow. And then, we want to keep we want to keep headings relevant. It should clearly represent what the content is about. I would also say H2s and H3s are a great place to introduce and to use related keywords. And so your main keyword you're going to typically want in your H1, then H2s and H3s, those are great places to add semantically related keywords. And one option could be, if we were doing a page for a car accident attorney, maybe our H1 is car accident attorney, but then our H2 is going to use car accident lawyer. And it's basically the same thing, but it's a different keyword, and it also gets that keyword and gets those topics more thoroughly covered on the page. We'll get into this a little bit more here. So now, using keywords naturally within your content. What does naturally mean? One, you want to make sure that you include keywords in a way that flows and that feels conversational. We don't want it to be forced. We don't want it to be repetitive. This is known as keyword stuffing. And one, it makes for terrible content to read, so it's not going to be helpful to your user. But two, search engines pick up on this and are better at detecting this, to where it will actually hurt you if it's too forced. So why it matters: it improves readability and engagement, and then it helps search engines to recognize relevance without penalizing yourself. Best practices for natural keyword usage. Prioritize user intent. When in doubt, focus on what would look best, what would make most sense for the person reading your content, and what's the purpose of the content. What are they trying to learn? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to achieve? That should be where you focus. Then you want to strategically place keywords in, if you can get in your intro, if you get into the title tag, if you get into headings and conclusions, those are all good spots to have keywords. And lastly, use variations and synonyms. We'll get into a deeper video at some point on this, but it's semantic search. It's where we don't just want to say car accident attorney 100 times on our page. We would want all sorts of variations of that term naturally used. And so that could be car accident attorney, car accident lawyer, car accident law firm, car wreck attorney, auto accident attorney, an attorney that deals with car accidents. We're not just stuffing those keywords in, but as that naturally comes up within the content, use variations to help to pull in a broader topical reach for that. And it's going to avoid redundancy. So it's not going to be like the same exact phrase every time it comes up. Summary of these points: title tags and meta descriptions. You want to craft keyword-rich, concise titles and descriptions. You want to include your main keyword in the title tag, and you want to do it naturally. Headings, organize your content with clear, relevant headings. Don't try to force things. Use variations of your keyword in the different headings and subheadings. And then keywords, use those naturally throughout your content. Do include them in titles, do include them in headings, don't include the exact same version of the keyword. And then when in doubt, prioritize user experience. Search engines are getting better and better at understanding what content is about, so we don't need to force our main terms in there. We want to create a really great piece of content that satisfies user intent, and that's going to put us in a really good position. Going back to a previous video, the SERP analysis, or the search engine result page analysis, that's a good one to learn from. So where you type in your main keyword and then you see what's coming up on Google and you learn what's working, and then you use that to inform your content. All right, we are going to wrap up here. In upcoming videos, we'll continue on our SEO for Beginners series. Thanks for watching.